Hey Boxing fans, Don Omega here, OmegaBoxing.com. Just wanting to come and comment on the Joshua Clottey versus Miguel Cotto fight. I thought Joshua Clottey clearly won this fight. I scored the fight 115-112 for Joshua Clottey. That would be 8 rounds to 4 for Joshua Clottey. I thought it was a very clear victory for Clottey. I do not see how anyone would have more than, even at most generous, maybe a draw for Cotto, but I don't even see how you would get a draw score just based on the way the rounds went. But anyhow, I thought it was a gifted decision for Miguel Cotto, who fought, I didn't think he fought that well of a fight, that good of a fight, honestly. First round, Joshua Clottey was winning the round, then he got dropped by a flash knockdown in the first round, right at the very end of the round. If he would have won that, it would be absolutely, insanely impossible to have Miguel Cotto winning the fight. That was the only saving thing that I could see as sort of some padding to maybe give Cotto a draw, maybe. But that's the only argument I could possibly see for Cotto in this fight. I thought Clottey executed his game plan better. He was the much more accurate fighter throughout the night, pretty much. Up until the last round, I felt Clottey was mostly in control of most of the rounds. I felt like Clottey was getting through with the better, more accurate shots. Yes, Cotto was busier, of course. We knew Cotto would be busier. That was the perception going into the fight anyhow, because Clottey is not a volume puncher. But anyhow, I am very disgusted with the robbery. It's yet another robbery. It was a good fight, very good fight, that was once again tainted by this bad decision. Once again, Miguel Cotto gets the benefit of the doubt and gets a bad decision victory. I thought he didn't deserve the win against Paulie Malignaggi. I know I'm very much in the minority there, but you score fights round by round, not by who took the most punishment. Yes, Miguel Cotto dished out the most punishment over Malignaggi, and I'll say, and that one I won't complain too much about because of that, because he still looked like the guy that won the fight, even though he didn't, in my opinion. I thought Malignaggi won. I think I had that fight 7 rounds to 5 for Paulie, but then Sugar Shane Mosley, I thought that was another very clear victory for Mosley. It was a close fight, but it was a clear victory for Sugar Shane Mosley. And I think Cotto got it based on his name recognition. And this is certainly the case in this latest fight, which was even wider than the Shane Mosley win, this Joshua Clottey robbery, as I will call it from now on, because that's what it was. It was a robbery. I do not like it, and we'll see what happens now. So, okay, just breaking down the fight even further. Okay, first round, of course, the knockdown. Then third round, it was a headbutt that opened up a cut. It was an accidental headbutt by Clottey. No surprise there. I even called that in my prediction that Miguel Cotto needed to watch out for Clottey's leading head. This isn't the first time he's headbutted someone accidentally, and it is truly accidental, but it does happen a lot. And unfortunately, Cotto caught the bad end of that nasty cut. It looked like it could have been stopped on the cut, honestly, because Cotto had blood on him all night long. And just after that, it was I think the 5th round. It was the 5th round that Cotto and Clottey tried to clinch Cotto, and Cotto shoved him off and made him fall down in a quite violent fashion. It was not intentional by Cotto by any means. It was just the way Clottey fell. He kind of hurt his leg and looked like it might have knocked the wind out of him some. He was given some time to recover, although I was not very impressed with Arthur McKinney Jr.'s officiating in this match, as I'm never impressed with Arthur McKinney Jr. I think he's a horrible referee. I think he should be banned from boxing, quite honestly. This is a guy that has had a tendency in the past to let fights go too long. He's going to get someone killed one day. I guess he won't be banned from boxing until that happens. That's my opinion on Arthur McKinney Jr. He's going to get someone killed one day. That's all I'm saying. And you heard it here first. If he hasn't already had someone killed by just... He's very inconsistent referee, I think. Anyhow, I do not see how anyone had that fight scored for Miguel Cotto. How in the world can you have that fight scored for Cotto? The last round, sure, Cotto won the last round, mainly because Clottey did complain way too much, and instead of just going after Cotto, who was on his bicycle. Even though he was throwing punches, he was on his bicycle. There's no way to deny that. He was throwing punches, and yes, he did what he needed to do to win the round, but it reminded me way too much of De La Hoya versus Trinidad in the last round. Trinidad. It reminded me of that. It had that feeling to it, and Cotto was in no position, in my opinion, to be on the negative so much, so to speak. I thought he should have been coming forward more, even though he still clearly won because Clottey led him by complaining too much to a referee that wasn't hearing any of it anyhow. So where does this leave us in the welterweight picture now with Miguel Cotto winning? He did get the victory. Arum, once again, never doing the best thing for his fighters. I believe Joshua Clottey would be in the full right to sue Bob Arum for not looking out for his best interests and wanting a rematch. It's utterly disgusting how Bob Arum does these fighters a lot of times, especially if they're not his marquee fighters. He did this with Floyd Mayweather, the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world at the time. And, I mean, it's no different. He hasn't changed any. It's ridiculous. Bob Arum said there will be no rematch. There's no way in hell there's going to be a rematch between Cotto and Clottey. That's ridiculous. You should never say this kind of thing. Once again, he proves he doesn't really care about boxing. It's all about money. That's all it's about with Arum. We all know that. That's no secret, but it's disgusting. Just like after Eric Morales had his fight, or not... Anyhow, when fighters lose and they sit there and say they're going to make a big fight, anyhow, of course we're going to. It's ridiculous. But so Miguel Cotto, I guess he'll fight. It looks like Arum's going to try lining up Cotto with Pacquiao. It looks like Mayweather and Arum just can't get along well enough to put together a fight with Pacquiao, so it looks like that's where they're leaning right now. I personally hope there's a rematch between Sugar Shane Mosley and Miguel Cotto. I'd be more interested in that right now at this point than I would a Cotto versus Pacquiao fight. I just think Shane Mosley deserves that rematch. He's the welterweight champion as of right now, and that's the fight Cotto should really be going after. But I'm sure he will go after Pacquiao if he'll try to see if he can get a Pacquiao fight first. And don't blame him, because that's probably a bigger money fight. Manny Pacquiao's the man everyone wants to fight right now. Sorry, Mayweather, it's not you that everyone wants to fight. It's Manny Pacquiao. That's just reality. And you need to get past Juan Manuel Marquez, which you will. You will. And then you need to do what you need to do to actually make the Pacquiao fight. Make it a 50-50 fight. Or make it the winner gets 60%. Don't sit there and price yourself out of a fight. You're really not worth as much as you think you are. It's not fair, but that's the way it is. Look at the Carlos Baldomir numbers. I'm just saying, look at the Baldomir numbers. When you're alone, you don't do that well. 300,000 buys isn't that well when you're alone. You know that. Just because you were one of several other guys to beat De La Hoya doesn't mean you are De La Hoya now and that you get De La Hoya kind of paydays yet. That's sort of my take on Floyd Mayweather. I really like the guy, fantastic fighter. Will he beat Manny Pacquiao if they fight? Almost certainly, I think. I think, yes, absolutely. He'll beat Manny Pacquiao if they fight. But that doesn't make him this big marquee draw like he thinks he is. Whenever Mayweather rage-quitted boxing, which is basically what it amounted to on his so-called retirement, he rage-quitted boxing because nobody wanted to see him fight De La Hoya a second time. There was no interest whatsoever from the public in a rematch with De La Hoya, so Mayweather quit boxing because they wanted to see him fight someone better than De La Hoya. And he had the Hatton fight and the De La Hoya fight, and those were good fights. I don't discredit him for those fights. Those were good fights, but he needed Miguel Cotto. He needed to just shut people up about Antonio Margarito, and he would have easily done it. He would have put on a masterful performance against Antonio Margarito. So why not just do it? This is what Manny Pacquiao has been doing. He hasn't been ducking anyone. He's fought all comers, and that's why Manny Pacquiao is the beloved guy that he is. And this is why he's getting these big fights, and you're not, Mayweather. So that's my take on that. The welterweight division, very interesting right now. We'll see what happens. There's other big fights. I think, where does Joshua Clottey go from here with this loss? Since I felt it was a win, and since I'm sure a lot of people that actually know how to score fights will see that it was a win for Clottey as well, I'm sure he'll bounce back very quickly, very easily. He looked better in the fight. He was the more accurate puncher. He is going to have a time getting a fight just because he's such a difficult opponent. But maybe someone like Andre Berto would step up against Clottey. That would be a very interesting matchup, I believe. Other welterweights that Clottey could fight, maybe Mosley. That would be a fight of the year type fight, I believe. I think Sugar Shane Mosley, Joshua Clottey has fight of the year written all over it. I would love for that fight to happen, especially if Mosley isn't able to get the Cotto rematch right away. Anyhow, thanks for watching. We'll be back. The forum should be open any day now. Just waiting to tweak a few more things. Got some minor problems behind the scenes that's keeping us from opening the forums just yet, but they will be open soon. And we'll be coming at you live next week from Columbia, South Carolina. There's actually a boxing event there with Luis Collazo and Travis Sims in separate bouts. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Hopefully we'll get Paul Williams too. He's supposed to be at the card, so hopefully we'll get some word with Paul Williams. And Don King. Don King is supposed to be there, so that will be interesting. Now, stay tuned. Don Omega, OmegaBoxing.com. See ya.